Okay, like I told you, I filed the fee waiver for to avoid court costs and to avoid costs for to have a jury trial. Lawyer called me, said that I would have to pay for it. The judge wouldn't grant the waiver of fees for a jury. That I have to pay that. No, but it's on the internet. When I filed for an appearance, I filed for a jury trial, and the story. But the lawyer told me that I was wrong. Okay, so I was telling him that I talked to his client, the previous client, and I'm guessing their attorney, because they're always threatening me with obtaining counsel. So, anyways, I told him I had no problem with the rent increase, within the legal limits. The last landlord before this one exceeded that by far, and she wanted to charge $1,200. But anyways, I was advising her about breaking the laws. The water quality here is poor. Sometimes it comes out black, gray, with a orangish tint, rust color. It stains the walls, and multiple leaks in the ceilings, kitchen, bathroom, one in the front room. Electrical problems. All the damage from the water from multiple leaks, structural damage. I told them that they had to fix this. They said they didn't. The last landlords or the landlord before that, so they sold the building. And legally, when they sell the building, they're supposed to let the new owners know about all the deficiencies and develop a game plan, inform all the tenants of what they're going to do and if they have to leave, etc., etc., etc. And they told me they didn't have to do it, and because of the limited liability, I could sue them, but not into oblivion like the old days, and they'll get a few fines and nobody will go to jail for putting my life at risk and the other tenants' life at risk in this building, But there should be laws about that. They should lock up these landlords. So anyways, when I was speaking to the attorney, I says, your tenant has to make these repairs. I says, that's why the other people sold the building. And I tried to go over these laws with him, but he just kept laughing at me because he knows I'm not an attorney and telling me, no, you have to pay for their jury. And the landlord doesn't have to fix that. He has no responsibility. And the last landlord said they have no responsibility for the water quality. And that's the legal obligations of the government, which is true to an extent. In the public trust doctrine says everybody in the legal system, lawyers, judges, politicians, are required to see to it that we have clean water, air, land, but nobody's doing that, So, basically they're telling me if nobody's done this before, what makes you think they're going to do it now? So I'm going to bring that up. I advised this lawyer that his client was breaking these laws. He did not advise his client that he was breaking the laws, and then and assisting his client with his further endeavor to break the law by taking me to court and filing a legal eviction because I consistently complain about the improprieties and the inconsistencies and the negligence in the repairs of this building. These are major repairs. The landlord accused me of saying this was remodeling. I didn't ask to remodel. And then he offered to slap on some paint, and he sent the paint slapper who slapped paint on everything. It's on the floor, it was on the stove, it was on my tea kettle. To heat up water. I didn't know till I turned on the stove and the water heat up, and I had this smell. And they weren't even gonna take anything out of my kitchen, just leave it, paint over everything. I started yelling, I raised a ruckus. Landlord told me they don't have to speak English because I couldn't understand them. They couldn't understand me. Well, I only speak English. But anyways, yes, a lawyer has a duty to advise a client against breaking the law and explain the consequences, as they cannot assist in legal, fraudulent, or criminal acts. If the client persists in illegal conduct, the lawyer must withdraw from representation to avoid violating professional ethics. Duty to advise. Lawyers must ensure clients understand the law and avoid violations. Preventive action. If a client plans to commit a crime, particularly one involving fraud or significant financial injury, using lawyer's service, the lawyer should try to stop it. Confidentially versus disclosure. While attorney-client privilege protects past crimes, lawyers may or must, in some jurisdictions, disclose information to prevent reasonably certain death or substantial bodily harm, to prevent a client from using the lawyer's services to commit crime, fraud. Exceptions. A lawyer may not disclose past crimes, but they cannot assist in ongoing or future criminal activity. And if the client insists on breaking the law, the attorney is required to withdraw from the case to avoid becoming an accomplice. For the lawyer to continue, even to start that, knowingly and willingly taking an illegal claim to court is deprivation of rights. They are to do what's in the best interest. They are to advise their client not to break the law, and the law they're breaking is it's physical harm. I got really sick, and I was told it was from the black mold. And I wanted disclosure on that. They said they were going to take care of it, and I'll get the report. I never got a report. They said they were doing all these kinds of structural engineer, whatever, I don't know. But I wanted a report. I have a right to disclosure. I have no right to know what they're doing. I have a right to know if this black mold is what was affecting me, making me sick. I lost 40 pounds last winter. Thank God I only lost 25 this winter. And that's not just because of the black, but the door, it needs to replace. It's warped, it's slightly twisted, and air comes through, and putting all that weather stripping and towels in front of the door and a blanket on it. No, that's not, no. Those are the terms of yesteryear. So what's happening to me as far as being a renter, it's happening all across America. So I'm going to make a big case about this. I'm going to bring the rules of professional conduct, the code of judicial conduct. I'll bring some of these laws with me. If they allow me electrical devices so I can show them, talk to the jury, then I could show them all this and just play these videos. I don't even have to talk. I just play the video and let them watch it. So remember, a lawyer not advising his client that they're breaking the law is deprivation of rights. A lawyer assisting a client in breaking law is deprivation of rights. That's conspiracy against rights right there. All you need is two or more people, the client and the lawyer. And that's what I will bring up in court. And if the judge doesn't abide by the law, that will further this conspiracy against rights under color of law, which is federal crime. So remember, yes, a lawyer does have to inform a client that they are breaking the law. That's what I typed in the search engine. Does a lawyer have to inform a client that they are breaking the law? First, I was going through the rules of professional conduct because it says that in the preamble. It tells you that they must advise their client that they can't do this, it's against the law, but they don't. That's why so many renters are living under such shitty conditions, and they're getting illegally evicted. The guy that came here and gave me an eviction notice, the summons server, said there was 5 other people being evicted in this building, and they were all complaining about the same thing, the lack of repairs, lack of upkeep, Yeah, so they're getting evicted because I think they're not paying the rent because he's not doing this. I pay the rent, I just didn't pay the increase. And I told him, you're legally required to make these repairs. I ain't got to do nothing. I'll get my lawyer and he'll take you to court and I won't have to do nothing. Well, your constitutional rights aren't a given. They are earned. And the only way you'll get due process, a fair trial, effective assistance of counsel, get them to abide by the letter of the law, the rule of law, and basic obligations of public service, living up to the oath. You have to know these laws, look them up, and look up the penalties for violating these laws. Okay. So his client's clearly breaking the law. And he's not, I don't know, did he tell his client? The last one, that crazy lady May, when she called me, I think she had me on speakerphone, because I could hear things in the background, but nobody was saying nothing. And I finally heard from her again. She sent me another notice this month that rent is due, don't forget to pay, to her. But she doesn't run this building, own this building anymore. New people do. And I've been getting these monthly emails from her since she's been gone. So that's legal harassment. And I warned her about that. So anyways, what this lawyer is doing, I told him on our first phone call, what he's doing is nothing but legal harassment. And I find it unadvisable to take me to court because I will pursue my legal remedies. And I will file a counter complaint. And I will see to it that the judge reports this misconduct, puts him before the ARDC, gets him barred, and remember, failure to abide by the oath has penalties. Denying due process, fair trial, effective assistance of counsel, that's deprivation of rights. Working with his client to do that's a conspiracy against rights under the color of law. So many laws are being broken. This is a little court, eviction. But see, I took the rules and the codes with me when I went to traffic court. I didn't do that when I got divorced. I should have. Child custody, that's how I got child custody. That's how I got part of my workman's comp, which people said I wasn't going to get. Social Security, sure, it took 10 years, 9 years, 3 appeals, 3 denials, had to sue, took the rules and the codes, and I got 10 years back pay and my red, white, and blue card. People, it pays to know the law, all right? Read to succeed. Open your eyes and open your mind, and by the grace of God, you'll open your heart and help others like I'm doing my best to help you. I started doing this in 1979, and I ain't stopped. I was left for dead. I told them, you can't stop me till you drop me. They dropped me, but they didn't make sure I couldn't get back up. They took the oath to serve and protect you. I took the Pledge of Allegiance to stand by your side, behind you, in front of you if the need be. When you fall, not to look down, but extend a hand to help you up. I will not tear you down, I will bring you up. We are not a Christian nation. If we were, we would be an embarrassment in the eyes of the Almighty. This racial profiling, that's not only deprivation of rights, that's defying the rule of law. That's conspiracy against rights under the color of law. You can't take away anybody's right to due process, even if they aren't a citizen, but because the Constitution guarantees due process to anybody in a court of law that has to face a court of law within the United States or its territories. And once again, in the eyes of the Almighty, He taught me on this planet, there's but one race, the human race. If we were a Christian country. No man stands taller than he that stoops to help a child. So I'm doing this for the children, their children, and their children's children. Before I leave this world, I want to make damn sure I leave it better than from when I came in. All right, people. My allegiance to you is eternal. Nobody will ever take that from me, and I would never deprive you of that. I didn't take the oath. When I pledge allegiance to the flag, I pledge allegiance to what it represents, the Constitution, and who is written to serve and protect we the people that are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. Amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Declaration of Independence demands you replace the usurpers in our government, those that choose to deny you your inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It doesn't say you have the right, it says you have the duty. Because you pledge allegiance not to a government, definitely not a wayward government. You did not pledge allegiance to public servants. You definitely did not pledge allegiance to Wall Street, for whom they feel employed. You pledged allegiance to we the people. That's where my heart is and always will be. And considering we are a nation of laws, and that is the supreme law of the land, it says so in the Declaration of Independence, as well as the Constitution, the fruits of that labor, that we the people all are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. Amongst these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And I'm doing my best to make that happen. 250 years and nobody's ever enforced that law. God bless. May your Creator always be with you and rain many blessings. I wish you nothing but a long life and good health. Peace and happiness.